The following podcast is brought to you by Pizzot Productions.
The podcast no one listens to with Kevin Porter.
Nice. The thought of ever going live scares the shit out of me, dude. I have pressed stop and pressed record. It's like the fucking ongoing theme of the show. It's like, oh, how many times this week, Kevin? Fuck you, fucking listener, for saying that. That was very rude of you. Welcome to an all new episode of the podcast that no one listens to. I am your host, Kevin Porter, and we are back with an all new week. Is it all new week? It's a past week, sure. We had last week, and now we have this week. And here we are in this moment, again, in front of my desk, talking to you, the people out there in the world. How is your day? That's good. I like to hear that. It's good. It's good. It's good to have a good day. It's good mentally. It's good to stay on your toes. It's good sometimes to just get out of, your basic elements, the comfortableness of your life. I mean, it's good to put yourself into situations. It may not seem fun at the time. It's like, oh, fuck you, Kevin Porter. Like you really like putting yourself in uncomfortable positions. Like, not this week, but sometimes, some weeks I like to do that. Yeah. I don't know, dude. What's going on, guys? It's been a pretty fucking boring existence for me lately. It's, I say boring, but man, I've been spending lots of quality time with my family, and some would say that's a good thing. Others would want to tear their head out sometimes. A little bit of mixture of both, I think. It's like fuck, dude. It's like, when was the last time I went and hung out at somebody's house? Fuck, it's been a good minute since I actually went out and just hung out at a friend's house for 4 hours, just smoking weed, playing video games, and talking shit. You know what I mean? It's like bullshitting. Oh shit, dude. It's like I kind of miss that, dude. Like, I haven't been doing stand up the last I haven't really been doing stand up all fucking summer. I think last time I went was it feels like at least a month ago at this point, and I bombed fucking horribly. I want to get up there and bomb again, dude. I want to keep going at it, dude. But I've been fucking so busy doing all this fucking farm life bullshit, and it's like, this is like the first time it's finally I don't know, hitting me. It's like, oh, I guess you kind of gotta do this, you guys got yourself into this, you gotta do the work. And it's like, all right, so we've been doing the work, and some days are better than others, some days, because it's just like, fuck, dude, you're like, fuck, dude, I work 8 hours, I don't want to fucking come home, have to do fucking 3 more hours of work. But then you're in the moment. It's like one of those things, just like exercise, dude. It's like, you just gotta grow the muscle, and it's like, you really just gotta push yourself to get out there. And it's like, it's like, because once you're out there, you get this good fucking feeling. You're fucking dealing with the earth. You're playing with dirt. You're pulling stuff out of the ground. You're getting to do all this. It's good stuff for your mind and your body. And half the time I'm listening to a fucking podcast anyway. So it's like, there's entertainment out there. I'm still able to watch wrestling, obviously, because you watch it on a fucking a fucking phone. I was gonna say a television, because last Saturday was really fucking fun. We were out there and we were having to tie garlic after we got done pulling it. It was evening, and we hadn't ate dinner yet, so we ordered pizza. We got some Domino's, and broad TV out there, and there was a couple of wrestling shows. If you follow any of my wrestling podcasts, obviously you saw the good amount of podcasts that we uploaded this past weekend. So, with that being said, we had to watch some wrestling, and we were just out there watching wrestling and doing our shit. And it's like, this isn't that bad. As a hobby, this isn't too bad, plus I've gotten through the fucking parts that I had anxiety about. I was creating that fucking website. That just haunted me, dude. Cause it's not that it's fucking hard. It's just, I hadn't taken the time to do it. Cause it's with this whole moving out here and living out here, it's not necessarily something that was my choice. And I hate to be oh, Kevin, you didn't have a choice. And it's well, for considering the factors going into moving out here, sometimes you're just thrusted into positions, and it's just kind of again, putting yourself in that uncomfortable fucking situation and just going for it. And it's not to say that I've had to do a lot of fucking work. It's when we go out there, it's not I've been organizing it. Okay. I guess is the best way to put it. It's there's other people out there that are like, all right, we got to do this step, which is, again, like, where would you expect me to know anything about this considering I've never done any of this? But it's like, now that we're in like our second harvest, and it's like, it's kind of like, well, now I'm kind of getting it. It's like, okay, like I'm getting when to plant. We're starting to like keep a log. It's like, all right, you need to get this stuff out of the ground first. We're putting it all together and shit. And so just with that, being said, it's like this last month, like 2-3 weeks or whatever. Sorry, I apologize, like my throat. I don't know, dude. It must be the fucking hot weather or something. It's not the hot weather. It's the fucking smoking weed before I record, dude. It caused all that phlegm to come up, and it's like, wah, wah, wah. It's fucking, I don't know, man. I don't know. But with that being said, it's just everything. Long story short, guys, it's been a good couple weeks. So, it's just like doing this podcast. Like it's crazy. It's just crazy, man. Sometimes you just get crazy and stuff. It's just, I don't know. Struggle on what to talk about on here. It's like, I don't know. Like, what do we talk about? It feels like my life is garlic in professional wrestling right now. It feels like, honestly, that's like all I've been doing is watching wrestling. And it's like in between, like last night, I was like, I'm not going to watch fucking SmackDown tonight. Fuck that. I'll watch it tomorrow. And top that off, I'm going to watch fucking bunch of South Park tonight. I've been like slowly, I'm like on season 16. I'm almost all the way through watching them in chronological order, which has taken me like 2 fucking years to do. But man, I'm making it. You get good runs in there. You watch it for a while and then you stop and then you watch it. It's a great show. It's really funny. It's probably like one of my favorite shows out there, honestly. Like hands down. Definitely one of my top 5. Speaking of top 5 episodes, did you guys check out the brand new episode of the In the Mouth of Madness podcast? Oof. Yeah, that's cool shit, man. I'm glad you guys are out there and you're listening to this shit, dude. I hope we're all having fun. Yeah, we got new intros and outros and all that shit going. I finally got off my ass and I was like, oh, we should probably put some fucking effort into this and fucking do something about that. Like, I don't know, dude. It's like you want to have the effort. I want to be like, oh, we're gonna do this, but it's like, I don't know. I don't want this to be a job. Like that's like one thing about our TV show, man. It kind of got to a point of being a job, and like, and not to say we didn't have fun, because especially those last 2-3 years, were really fun. Like 2011, 2012, that shit was fun, and but like at certain points, you just don't want it to be a job and stuff, and it's like. But then, like, I stop and think about it. It's like, Kevin, is it really that hard to take the time and make fucking, do some extra stuff? And, like, I don't know. It's just like I had a conversation with Brandon a couple weeks ago. And it's like, it's like I kind of I feel like I'm missing that element of, like, being an artist or whatever. And I feel like I haven't been an artist, like, truly an artist, like, for a long time. It's not to say, like, I was ever that great of an artist in what we all, what I produce and stuff. But at the same time, it's fun, to even put yourself in that type of position and to create things. And it's like, when was the last time I wrote something? It's like I write little sentences for comedy and stuff, but I sit down and like try to expand on them. It's just like, fuck, man. It's like, I don't know. I listen, I talk about listening like the Church of What's Happening Now, with Joey Diaz and whatnot. And like one thing that they're talking about, it's like you can't put 50% of the time in this and 50% of the time in that and expect it to work. And it's like, I don't know. It's just like, I look at, where I wanted to be, say, when I was 18, 19, and you had that grand allure in your eye of like, oh, we're going to do projects. It's like at the time, it's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do at the time. But it's like, oh, it's like you had that idea. It's like, you just want to be in front of people and shit. So it's like, opportunities come up and we do things and, here we are. Like what, like 15 fucking years later or whatever, and you just kind of like, you look back, you look at your life, and I look at where I'm at right now, and it's like, I wouldn't trade it for the fucking world, but, I mean, these ideas, though, of like what I want to accomplish in my life, and to be it, like, selfishly, this is what I want to accomplish, like, they never leave your head, you subdue them for a while. It's like, it's not to say, like, because I am complacent. I am very fucking complacent where I am right now. Like, I really, it's like, I could put the effort in. I don't know. It's just, You've been doing it for 15 fucking years, man. It's like you kind of want to break. It's like, were you ever really truly doing it though? It's like, no, probably not as much as I could be. But it's just, again, like, I kind of like walloped myself back to, you know, when I was 18, 19, I had these ideas and we first started doing the show, and then boom, what do I do? You know, like me and Jessica get pregnant at like fucking 19. It's like, okay, well, I guess we're not moving. I mean, unless, I don't know. Like, I mean, we could have easily gone like everybody else, it could have easily, it could have been fucking many times, I've talked about it before on here. It could have gone one way or the other, fucking with the snap of a finger, man. Like, I didn't have to stay. She didn't have to stay with me, I was an asshole. She deserved better, then, and like, I don't know. You reflect on your situation again, live moment by moment, like, just where we were then, how we've grown. And it's like, again, I wouldn't trade the experience for anything, but it's like, I don't know, now that I'm looking at it, like, I'm on the other end at this point, in a sense, like, cause like, we never lost the dream, of like entertaining. It's like, we're still doing this podcast to this fucking day. We're doing something, But there's always been something, there's always been some sort of project in the mix. And like, that's one thing I've always like appreciated about all my friends, the people I surround myself with. And it's just like, those people like are all creatives as well. And everybody's always wanting to do something, and like, let's do a project, let's do something. And it's like, we do shit. And it's like, it's pretty fucking cool. Cause like, I remember back in middle school wanting to surround myself with those people, like wanting to be like, oh yeah, And I wasn't necessarily thinking like people in bands and all that shit, but I just remember this one time seeing like this group of like goth, they were like kind of like goth kids, like skeevy. Now I look back and they're just but fucking skeevy stoners, but I don't know why, but like I always was like attracted to that, I was always attracted to that type of lifestyle of being a skeevy stoner. And it's like, be careful what you wish for, I guess. Skeevy stoners knock up their girlfriend at 19. Like, I don't fucking know, dude. I don't fucking know. But, you just, again, I guess the main point is, like, you never lose the dream of wanting to obtain, that next level. And it's like, and again, you go through your head, it's like, well, what truly am I satisfied with? And it's like, I'd like to have a bigger audience. I'd like to devote time to actual, like, stand-up comedy, like, where I could go, and put the time in, man. But it's just like, fuck, dude. And, like, you have that dream of, like, just doing it. It's like, not letting anything in your life affect you. Like, you just like, no girl, no kids, nothing. And you're just able to focus. Like, you go and you just, all you do is you write. And that's like, you literally live your shit 24 fucking 7. Cause like, that's the other way to do it. You can't just do it. Oh, guys, go do open mic once a week. Look at me, guys. I'm big time in Yakima. I do a show every month. Like, and I get it. Like, everybody, like, again, it's not knocking that, because that's obviously what I do. I don't even get shows. I don't even get on fucking shows in this town, dude. That's how fucking D-level I am, But like, it's still, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Like, are you happy where you're at right now? It's like, yeah, I'm fucking happy, man. But like, again, like, you want more, and it's like, how much more do you want that's gonna make you happy? And it's like, I don't know. Again, like, grow the audience. If like I was able just to, I don't know, like, just have the time. It's like, I don't know, like, I need to figure out how. Like, when I say I need the time, like, I need to figure out how to get the fuck out of my job, and like, I mean, like, I think about it. I have these like. These dreams now in my head of like, oh, it'd be so cool if we could make enough money just living off our land, and then I could just focus on comedy, and then like all I'm doing, like, and like, go fully fucking independent, right? Like, but again, dude, this is like, I need to get better, and like, I just need to fucking push myself a little bit more, And just like, you feel like a piece of shit when you like have that realization, It's like, fuck, it's like, in order to get where I want to go, I needed to do more work. And it's like, it's easy to sit here and say that, but it's like, am I, you get, I don't know, it's like it's like you're moving in the right direction consistently. It's like your mind's always in a good place in terms of like where you need to go next. And like, I'm definitely on the mends in that sense, dude. Like, it's just, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, guys. I don't know. I'm fucking high as shit and I'm rambling on here. Like, I don't fucking know, dude. I just know that, I'm happy. I'm happy, but you think of like what could be type scenarios and it's like, do I need that to be happy? It's like, fuck no, I don't need that to be happy. Fuck no, I don't need that. But it's like, you just want to keep working towards that goal, and it's like, when you're sitting at a desk for 8 fucking hours and you're like, I could be doing this, I could be doing that, I could be doing this, and it's like, I utilize my time as much as I can when I'm off, and I need to utilize it that much more, like, instead of, I don't know, because like, it's like, I just have this like another dream of mine is like whenever I get to like have like a scheduled day off and like you stay home, like I imagine getting up and like getting coffee and chilling and like sitting in the morning enjoying, because I like getting up in the morning, like I like getting up at like 6 and watching the sunrise, like I like that. It's good. It's a good fucking time to wake up fucking like not hungover, wake up, make coffee and just chill. And the times that I have done this, like where I've taken out my notepad and I've written and like, and again, like, it's not like you're going to write something great every single day, but the practice of writing in the morning for me is like always something I dream of, it's like, but like you have to be to work so fucking early, but it's like, it's like all those years that I had to be to work, like, so late, like, did I ever do that? No, no, fuck no. I don't know, dude. It's just, the hustle and bustle of family life and shit. And it's just, fuck, you just, that's your priority. And it's like, honestly, where I just got to come to fucking terms. And, it's not to say I haven't, obviously, because, again, I'm very content with where I'm at. And I'm happy with the time I get to spend with my kids and my wife. And I'm able to, just be a dad and a husband. And that's great. It's fucking awesome. Yeah. I don't know. What's up with you guys? How are you guys doing? I have been good. I've been going to the gym pretty regularly, 4 to 5 days a week. So I've been getting it at it. It's basically, and again, it's like I'm forcing myself to sweat. Like that's the whole point of it for me. Is just like the mental health aspect and just like keep my mind focused on that and keep that shit clean, son. Change the fucking oil, right? I don't know. Shit, dude, I wish I could be playing more video games lately. It's been pretty slim pickings for me, man. Again, like working late in the night and like going to work and yeah. I know I kind of got burned out yesterday, dude. Like I had to take a break, dude. We were hitting it so hard the last couple of days and like I felt like I wasn't getting any rest, so I was like I have to go to bed early. So like I still ended up going to bed at my normal time, but I feel like I slept better last night than I had the last several nights. So it's like, all right. I think we recharged our batteries a little bit there. So, but yeah, this weekend coming up, what did I do last weekend, dude? Oh yeah, dude, I went to the Pumpkin Jublick Festival in Portland. So I went to Portland. Ray, if you're listening, you scared the fucking shit out of me when you fucking drive. I swear to God, I'm sorry. You got us home safely, you guys there safely, and you guys back safely. So I can't say too much, but man, when you come up on somebody's ass like that, going like fucking 60 miles an hour, I'm sorry, but I'm grabbing that shit handle, and I have a shit right on fucking deck, dude. Like I feel like I'm gonna shit my pants when I drive with you. I mean, I don't know any other way of fucking saying it, but I don't know, dude. I even said I was like, and the worst part is that I'm stoned as fuck, so it's like I'm fucking high. And I'm like, ugh, like heart's beating. Like, am I gonna make it to Portland alive? Thank God that we were able to make it there back. And but even then, he's like, oh yeah, I looked down the speedometer, we're going like 80 miles an hour. We're like, bitch, we're going over fucking Sadius. This is not an 80 mile an hour fucking highway, bitch. Like, shit. But we got there, and I don't know if you've ever been there, but it was at the Portland Meadows. And this is like the Portland racing track. So it's in the middle of this field, and I as soon as we're there, like, and we get inside, I start to realize, I'm like, oh shit, we're gonna be in a field with no shade whatsoever for the next 8 fucking hours. And it's like, are you fucking kidding me right now? Well, it's like 7 hours. The first couple hours sucked because it was like 83 degrees, and like, it just like I had sunscreen lotion, so it's not like I got sunburned too bad, but it wasn't very fun. And it's like, I didn't go into the mosh pit or anything because I was just like, I'm too hot, I'm tired, because like the whole week again, like we were picking garlic and shit, and like staying up all late into the evening and we're doing all this shit. And it's just like, I'm going to the gym every fucking day. I'm just like, I'm fucking tired. Like, I'm just here to watch some fucking music. So, like, the first, seeing Anti-Flag MXPX was fucking fun. But again, like, it was just kind of like, I'm standing here in 83 degree fucking weather. This is like, I'm sweating like a bitch right now. Like, come on, guys. Then it finally kind of like once Bad Religion came on, that's when it finally started to cool down and it wasn't as hot. So I became less cranky in that sense. Not to say I got cranky or anything, but, in my head, I'm like screaming motherfucking bloody murder, motherfucker. It's pretty cool though. I mean, like, you got drink tickets and stuff and this little like sampler glass and shit. So I just gave it to Ray. It's like, hey, thank you for getting me here alive, Ray. Take my drink tickets. So him and Kelsey had beers. Eric and Naomi had beers, and I drank $4 water. That's like my fucking experience, dude. That's like my fucking experience in fucking Portland there, dude. Bad Religion was great. NoFX probably played the cleanest I've ever seen them fucking play. They're just happy to be back in the United States. Seeing them play The Decline with the full fucking orchestra was pretty badass and amazing, and it was like a really fun show, but by the end of it, dude, I was so fucking tired. Just from the days before and just adding into that, dude, I was just so fucking tired. So we, at one point, like, so I'm standing there talking to Eric, and like, I look over and I see a bunch of security guards and I see this naked dude fucking covered up his junk with a cardboard fucking piece of paper or some fucking cardboard. And, he's walking by us and everybody just starts clapping for him and shit. So, like, that's one thing, like, you would think going to a punk rock show, you'd be like, yeah, no, I've seen a naked dude before. Honestly, I've never seen a naked dude at a fucking concert before. So it was like, fuck, dude, you're giving these guys beer and like they're in the sun for fucking 7 hours. Like, what do you fucking expect is gonna happen? Like, of course, people are gonna get naked. At one point, I saw this dude get fucking face all smashed. There's like these douchey fucking yuppie fucking family in front of us, and this guy was like, he's probably like mid 40s, and he's all like acting like he's all cool. He's hanging out with like his 21-year-old nephew. He's like, blah, 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 look at me. I listen to fucking AC/DC, And nothing wrong with AC/DC. I love AC/DC. AC/DC is a fucking amazing band, but this guy was just on one, and they like, I don't know. It was fun. It was really fun because I really like watching drunk people. It's one thing, like, as going to these things, like going to the bar sober, it's like fucking, or stoned or whatever. I guess you're not sober. It's really fun to me. I like watching drunk people. I like to, like, get me, like, to a certain point, man. Like, for the most part, I like to stay alone, I like to stay home. But I do like to go out in public sometimes. And sometimes if, you got a certain amount of confidence, you're like, yeah, I'm going to watch some people today. I'm going to get really high. I'm going to watch some people when I go to the mall. Not the Yakima Mall anymore. Not the Yakima Mall, but the Valley Mall here. Some kid got fucking stabbed in the bathroom. Oh, shit, dude. It's like, Yakima's crazy. It's like, bro, go move to fucking, I don't even know what side of Chicago it is, but it's like Chicago in general. I know it's not all of Chicago, but, like, it's pretty intense out there. So, I don't know, man. Yeah, it's like, what else are we going to talk about, guys? I know, guys, we got a brand new episode this week. Rick fucking Brunstetter is on the episode, making his debut on the show, dude. Hell yeah. It's always cool to get fucking new people on here, dude. So, yeah, I need to record some more fucking podcasts. That's for fucking sure. I tried to stay at least 2 weeks out. So it's like, in case shit comes up, you're like, it's like, oh, I'm not like fucked or anything. I just record like 20 minutes of me talking in my room and that's it. And then I already have so I was doing pretty good, but then this fucking garlic shit totally fucked me over. Luckily, we have shit planned for next week already, so we'll be good for next week, and then we're just gonna have to play it week by week until, well, it's not gonna take us that much longer, dude. We're like halfway through the fucking rows. We'll have the shit up in the next fucking 10 days. I don't know. I'm ready for a break, guys. Fun going to Seattle this weekend. That's gonna be cool. So gonna do that. Me and Jessica, we're going on a trip for the day, and it'll be fun. So we're going to go see a comedy show. We're going to go see some stand-up comedy in person. I'm going to go get entertained, people. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, do we have to cover business? Is there anything else we need to cover? Check out In the Mouth of Madness. Predator this week, guys, our surprise episode. What do I have to say about that episode? There was supposed to be 3 disclaimers going into that episode. You got a brand new one, though. Again, we got a brand new warning disclaimer for content. So you were warned going in at least twice before going into that show. We got brand new shit up on the feed for Totally Necessary Wrestling podcast. We covered Extreme Rules this past weekend and AEW Fight for the Fallen. Both fun shows, dude. I had a good weekend watching wrestling this past weekend. I am really happy, though, that I don't have to spend another weekend watching professional wrestling for at least another month. At least, yeah, about a month at this point. So that's pretty enjoyable at that point. So I like watching wrestling. I mean, it's fun. I get enjoyment out of doing it. I'm trying to think what else we got going on. I know it's just like, what else do we have going on? I'm really tired. I'm really high. And with that being said, I would like to introduce you to the great Rick Brunstetter, ladies and gentlemen.
All aboard!
Back into doing Let's Plays again. I don't want to just use whatever.
Let's play.
Oh, Let's Play?
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, it's basically the thing that used to be popular on YouTube back in the day, where people basically just sat there in front of their computers or whatever console and they just commentaried as they played a game.
Okay.
It was kind of a way for people to check out games without actually having to buy them and get a feel for what the game's about. I used to watch a lot of these because there were plenty of games I knew I was never going to play.
Right.
So
right.
I'm like, oh, well, let's at least take a look, because if it's actually good, I might put the money aside down the line to finally get it myself. If it's something I know I'm never going to touch, I'll just keep watching all the way through and just see how it ends, because I can have that playing in the background, kind of slightly pay attention to it as it's doing its thing while I'm over here trying to get something productive done at the same time.
Yeah. Dude, that's like me with podcasts. Like, I listen to podcasts and I don't have it's literally just background noise for the most part.
But it's good, though, because if it's too attention-grabbing, next thing you know, you're
Not
focusing on...
attention.
Yeah. That's why I can stream TNG episodes in the background. I've watched that show so many times throughout my life. It is background noise unless I really just fixate on it. Otherwise, I can have episodes going that I've almost memorized and then just kind of leave it alone, because I can picture what's happening in my head anyways from just all the watches.
Sometimes it's nice, though, just to have that imagination, like, it's one thing I missed from, like, elementary school was, like, teachers reading. You know, like, I fucking always enjoyed the imagination, just, like, letting it fucking, run wild and shit, dude.
Yeah.
So.
I do miss that, too. We had that in elementary school. Specifically whenever we had like times in the library. The librarian would always pull out a book, anything from like The Hungry Caterpillar all the way up to Where the Wild Things Are. Just cool stuff like that. I think she even read like Little House on the Prairie to us a long time ago, and that got me fixated just because the story was so different from goofy, imaginative characters. You actually had a realistic story taking place on, the old like 19th century setting out there in the farmlands, and it was just interesting at the time because it was different.
Dude,
but
yeah. I like those olden day ones. Yeah, I remember where the red fern grows.
Yeah,
that was like, dude. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was in that one. They say like shit or something, or like I don't know. They say some sort of curse word. I remember as like a fourth grader. It's like, oh shit, teacher just swore. What the fuck? What the fuck, Sean? Oh shit.
Or you're in class and you're forced to read a line out of like some Shakespearean play or something. You're just like, hey mom, can I say that? Is that okay?
Like, as long as it's in class, I don't see why not, Rick.
You're taking it out of context. It's not your words. You're using someone else's words.
Exactly, dude. Fucking Rick Brunstetter, welcome to the podcast that no one listens to, dude. It's quite the intro there.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm glad you're all still here after my rambling just now.
You just sucked everybody in, dude. Everybody's going to go on a wild fucking 45-minute to an hour ride. Depends on how fucking fast we get going, dude. So, fucking, what's been going on, dude?
Oh, lots been going on. Plenty of things. Been really busy with work. That's been the primary thing. But
what have you been doing for work lately?
Still doing the electrical thing.
I see. Well, that's the thing is like we know each other, but we don't really know each other. Like this is like officially, I want to say this is our first time sitting down and having like a long form conversation. So I don't know anything about what you do, like the electrical work or anything like that.
Well, let me first start off. Yeah, we know each other from several plays from a local play production person that we know here in
and shout out Kevin Richardson. We
can
say his name.
Yeah, so Kevin and Kevin. I met Kevin through Kevin because of Kevin's plays, and Kevin happened to be in one of those plays.
A couple of them.
Yeah. Are you following? Because it gets a little crazy.
Oh, dude. Those are some crazy plays, man. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, Kevin Richardson's always like, it's like punk rock, fucking DIY, fucking. You know, that's why I've always loved doing his plays, dude, because it's all DIY, and I love that. Like, I was raised on fucking punk rock values, dude. That's like the number one value is DIY. So.
But that's also why I've appreciated Kevin's plays so much over the years, too, because I know what he has to go through in order to make all of this happen, especially when he does it for free, just for the sake of
doing it
and not getting anything back for it.
100%, dude. That's what it's all about, dude. That's when you know it's about the fucking art.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I can definitely appreciate that, especially when he's like the only person that's going out of his way to contact whether it be people for their costumes, set pieces, just anything. You know, he's kind of one man showing it to get it all put together. And I know that to a T. That's what I've been doing ever since I've been doing my own stuff back in the day. Right. So that was kind of that kindred spirit aspect when I met him. Like, you know, there's actually someone else that really gets that because... when I do film, a lot of it is one-man production type stuff. And I've seen plenty of other film groups out there that have team members assigned to all the different things, whether it be the assistant director, the sound, the lighting. You actually got half a dozen people on each thing putting it all together, and I'm over here like, so that's what it's like when you actually got a group of people working together. This is pretty cool.
It's more than one person, man.
Yeah, as opposed to, hey, could you hold my mic a second while we film this take? I know it's not what you were expecting to do, but please just for a second, we got to get this shot perfect.
That's like, to me, like, that's even more fun, dude, because like that's, again, you know, what I grew up on was public access, dude, so we had a skeleton crew like that whole entire time. So it was like, yeah, you know, you're gonna be, you know, TDing something, but then you'll be in the next shot, you know, like, you'll be running a camera or whatever, dude. Like,
yeah,
I mean, it makes it more intimate, in my opinion, when it's like such closer and you're not having to rely on you know,
definitely
5 to 10 people or whatever the crew size is or whatever.
And it is also fun sometimes when someone's actually curious enough, like, I kind of want to try that out. Could I film this take? Can I see what it looks like? Or since you're the one in front of the camera this time and not using it, how about I give it a shot and see if I can make a good take out of what I think might look good.
Right.
And sometimes it works perfectly, and other times it's like, oh, well, you know, you're not used to it yet. This is new, but you're doing good because this is how it all starts. You don't instantly become a pro. You have to work up to that.
Of course. And dude, I think many of us will never obtain pro status.
Nah, maybe not.
That's just like it's like the, you know. It's like the urban myth, you know, pro status. Like, you know.
And even pro
we
status.
try, we all try.
Yeah, and even pro status, though, it's kind of a thing where it's like, even if you don't have, like, the best skill set, sometimes just luck of the draw, you know someone has a connection. So someone that's not even always that talented is a pro at the same time.
Yeah, no, that's 100%, dude. It's like, it's about who you know.
Mm-hmm. It's always been word of mouth. I mean, that's how I got my job as an electrician. If it wasn't for the fact it was a family-owned business, I probably wouldn't be doing it.
Well, I know all about family-owned business, bro. So,
It's the only way to thrive out here, especially with everything going on with job placements and job opportunities just not being what they used to be.
Right.
It's better to just know someone and hopefully get something lined up.
Yeah, where I work, like, it's like, I always describe it to people as like kind of like a diamond in the rough, because like, for what, like, lack of education I have, like, and as much money as I make doing that, it's like, wow, I'm not gonna get this working anywhere else in this town. You know what I mean?
Because this is Yakima. Unfortunately, it's really tough to find like the perfect opportunities out here. We're either too old-fashioned, or everyone that's doing the jobs, those slots are already filled. The very limited slots are already occupied, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Right. That's why my little pipe dream of being a graphics designer out here tanked. Time for a woeful story. A little backstory. The whole electrician thing wasn't my original like go-to plan. I tried to go to a trade school out here, Perry, and they have a course, or had a course, I should say, that was involved with graphics design. And I'm like, oh wow, that's the cool stuff, like making advertisements, creating posters. You know, it's that whole visual advertisement to get you as a consumer like, oh, I want to know more about that. So I got all signed up for the class, was all ready to go, and about 3 weeks out, I got the bad news they were taking it out of the curriculum because of very low job placement. And I'm basically finding out, oh, well, it's because it's Yakima, right? There's no one out here that needs a graphics designer because that's already being taken care of in little old Yakka Valley.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah, they took it out because they didn't want that to be part of their school's reputation at that point.
Yeah, because that's what they pride themselves on, is like being able to like place you locally with the job, so you're not having to like move across state or some shit.
Yep.
Or...
And unfortunately, that was no longer in the cards. Not for that kind of trade.
Not for that kind of trade. Well, it seems like something like that you could like when you say graphic arts, like, are you talking like Pixar, that type of shit, like making movies?
Oh, no,
like,
nothing like that. Think like video game posters, for example. Just how they have like the image thrown up with the logo and maybe some notes and stuff.
Yeah.
It's essentially that.
Like cool edge shit, basically. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, that's something I wanted to go to school for because I always thought it was kind of cool to bring that to life and get you fixated on wanting to know more about whether it be a game or a movie or even a product altogether.
I mean, I'm sure I'll be completely honest, dude. I judge a book by its cover, bro. I judge a book by its cover.
First impressions are always everything.
I think so, especially when it comes to like a video game. Like, I'll be like, oh, that has a pretty cover. Maybe we'll try it. Like,
and that's how the industry works. Like, I do photography for book covers, and the production company behind it, the publishing company, they always pride themselves on making sure that whatever they have on that cover is going to be something that's going to make the consumer want to buy it, or at the very least make the stores want to have it on their shelves. Because if they don't think it's going to sell, they're not going to want it there taking up space.
Like, what's this piece of garbage right here?
Essentially. So,
Get this out of here.
And we, being as shallow as we all are, we like stuff that look good. So they want good-looking models to be the characters on the covers, because if someone looks at that and goes, oh, that doesn't look very attractive, they're not going to buy it. Because we kind of live fantasies through these fictional characters, and sometimes for someone that doesn't feel that positive about how they look, sometimes it's more fun to pretend that they're this person who, from the looks of this cover, looks good, and they can imagine themselves in the role. It's living out that fantasy.
Yeah. You get that imagination going in there, dude, and then you're like, oh, yeah, I'll totally masturbate to this book cover. You know? And that's essentially what you're selling, is sex appeal.
Yeah, even if it is something that just doesn't even come off that way, you still want it to look good, just to the point where someone wants to be that character or to read about that character. Yeah. It's that fantasy aspect. If it looks too close to home, then you're basically just escaping reality to live reality again.
Like, I don't want it to look like my wife now. Come on.
Oh, jeez. It's got to be like Pamela Anderson or something. I don't know.
It kind of seems like we don't have that woman, like that sex idol, you know, like that we had like with Farrah Fawcett, Pamela Anderson back in like, you know, the 70s, and like who was in the 80s? Trying to think of like who was the real hot pinup chick in the 80s. I didn't like really live in the 80s too much. I was born in the 80s, but like by 90 I was 5. Like, you know, so I can't really, but I can definitely tell you, yeah, like Pamela Anderson, dude, Jenny McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I remember her from like the Home Improvement days.
Kim Kardashian, I guess that's like,
she's kind of the modern example of it, and her and the whole Kardashian and Jenner clan at this point kind of feel like they're filling up that slot on top of all.
Oh, I know. Now there's like the younger sisters. Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, those chicks just came out of nowhere. Because like I paid no attention to pop culture, bro. I am completely out of it. But like, these things slip through. Like, honestly, the first time I heard of Tekashi 6ix9ine, I saw the picture and all that shit. Mm-hmm. I'm like, this guy's not real, right? Like, and then somebody's like, no, that's like mainstream shit. Like, I'm like, really? Like,
how did we get to this point?
Like, fucking jeez, man. What kind of bullshit is this, dude? This is like,
things have changed.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
For both the better and the worse. I mean, in some aspects, I'm glad because, you know, unfortunately, you start to idolize certain people in a way that isn't realistic or even healthy sometimes, just because
by far not healthy. It's not healthy to worship anybody in any way.
Because we're all people when it comes down to it, and certain people are blessed with certain aspects over others, and sometimes it's as simple as just better looks. But those people with better looks might not be as skilled at, like, say, working on a computer, working out in the field, or any of those things. Everyone has different skills, but because of the stuff that we become jealous of, essentially, everything that we're capable of starts to not matter.
So we definitely gotta take focus on yourself and just, you know, understand that you are, you know, that one person.
Yeah,
you don't want to be fucking comparing yourself to like other people.
No, it's not fair because that person is them and you are you. You know, you're never gonna be them because you're not. You're already not, and you never will be. So.
I think, and this is why I've stopped paying attention to fucking like it's just like I don't know. Back in the day, like when you're in middle school and shit, and you're watching, like in my day it was like Britney Spears and like Backstreet Boys and all that shit. It's like, oh yeah, TV is pretty fucking cool. But then you grow up and you see exactly what it is, and it's like we were talking about earlier about like the selling the sex and everything. It's like that mass consumerism and shit, and it's like, oh, this is really good for society. I don't think so. I don't know. I don't think it really is.
Starting to realize that maybe this isn't actually good influencing people.
Isn't what life is all about, people.
It's tough because you realize those things, and even as you're making stuff throughout the years, your style even changes a little bit, where you're like, oh man, the me back then, if I was still that way now, I wouldn't be happy with myself because
right.
The me of now is like, oh, how did I let that happen? Because
Because
going back to those influences, it's, like TV shows, you might see like a certain series where a character is basically in the fast lane and living life on the edge and basically getting everything because of a certain lifestyle that they're living,
getting the money,
or getting to be in the robot or whatever, just stuff like that. And it's like there's a bar that gets set, and it's an impossible bar just because it's fiction anyways. Right. But you still feel compelled, like your life is never going to be complete unless you're that guy piloting the robot or driving the fast car, making all the money or whatever.
It's weird how like we're brainwashed just for such a young age to totally just like this is what life is about. But then when you get older, it's just like whoa. Like, this isn't what life is about. It's cool, though, because, like, now, like, with the internet and everything, we're so, like, able to be individual. Like, we're able to be more individualized than we were, 20 years ago or whatever, dude. Because, like, now it's, like, anything I want, like, I have at the fingertips.
Oh, yeah.
Fingertips and shit.
It's really nice to know that if there's a DVD that I've always wanted to own of a franchise or a TV show or whatever, I can actually go on, like, Amazon or something and be like, look, there it is.
Prime shipping, man.
Unless it's something that's been out of print, and that's where it becomes a bag.
Then it becomes a treasure hunt at that point, dude. Because then you got to search that shit out.
Oh gosh, I got a little rant about that.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Give me that shit.
So for any of you Netflix viewers out there is a show that just recently dropped, a certain anime called Evangelion, or more accurately, Neon Genesis Evangelion. Really, really big anime in the 90s. It actually changed the anime industry as we know it, with how certain staples have become implemented in so many other forms of media throughout the years. It's even influenced movies like Pacific Rim to an extent.
No shit.
So,
I've never even heard of this.
Really?
I'm not too well versed in anime for the most part. Like I'm like your most mainstream anime fan, dude. I like Dragon Ball Z. I've heard of Cowboy Bebop, but I mean outside of Dragon Ball Z, like that's really it.
And it's kind of a tough thing too because Evangelion falls under the way less popular than it used to be mecha genre. It was about giant robots, and that in like the I'd say late 70s, mid 80s, early 90s, that was a fad at the time. Everyone loved the mecha franchises. Anything from the giant robots that were being controlled, piloted. Heck, you even see it in Power Rangers to an extent with the Megazords. Oh, yeah. It was that aspect of being in the giant robot and having all the power.
Wow.
But Evangelion itself, as a show, took the genre and deconstructed it. Because as it played out, you realize these robots aren't actually robots. They're something else entirely. And then it goes from being the fight the monster with each weekly episode to something that's more akin to a psychological deep dive into how people's psyches work and how they feel about the world around them and how they're judged. It takes a huge tonal shift midway through. And it was a landmark franchise for what it did. Now, that was back in the 90s. And throughout the years, the company that was responsible for bringing it over to the States and dubbing it was dealing with a lot of legal issues on top of the fact that the Japanese company responsible for creating it was dealing with its own legal issues with the guy who directed the series when he was making his own company and wanted the rights to his show. So he had lawsuits against the company that originally created his story as he was making his own new company to do whatever he was wanting to do from that point forward. A lot of goofy stuff happening behind the scenes. To the point where, at this point, to this day, Netflix finally secured the streaming rights to the show. So for the first time in its history since the 90s, it is now available worldwide on Netflix to watch in its entirety. Here's the kicker, though.
Okay.
When they brought it to Netflix, they announced it way back in November and said it was coming out sometime in 2019. Netflix normally doesn't do that with shows. If they've acquired the rights to it, it's going to start streaming immediately. So why the big gap? people started having these assumptions that they were going back and redubbing the entire thing.
Oh, no shit.
See, because back in the early days of dubbing, and you can probably tell this in Dragon Ball even, there's some really cheesy delivery with some of the lines. Like, they're over the top. Sometimes when they scream or say a line, it's just, it makes you laugh because of the delivery being just so cartoony. Or just super, just very exaggerated. Like, to the point where you're just like, oh, this is supposed to be a serious moment, but the way he just said that, I can't. This is just too good. Because, there was a certain level of quality that wasn't being maintained back in the day. It wasn't being treated like an actual show. It wasn't taken as seriously as it is nowadays. But with this original company that dubbed the franchise no longer existing, the rights to it were kind of up in the air.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of people figure, okay, Netflix wasn't able to secure the rights to the dub because the company doesn't exist anymore, well, yada, yada, yada. But then it turned out that the Japanese company wanted a more accurate translation to their source material, because back in the old days, a lot of companies kind of took some freedom with translating.
Right?
Mm-hmm. Some creative liberties with delivery and certain lines just to have more fun with it.
Okay.
So when Netflix redubbed it, they went out of their way to not only redub it, but any of the people that were originally involved were not even considered to come back to play the parts that they become known for.
Oh, they totally recasted?
They recasted the entire group of people and didn't even contact these people that originally did it to say, hey, do you want to come back and play these parts? You're pretty famous for these roles. Nope, completely passed them up. Only brought them in after the controversy started and to avoid more backlash. And of course, they did not pick them. So, yeah, there's a lot of controversy going on with it right now because of the new dub. Some changes to the translations, certain lines being altered around. The show was also infamous for actually having karaoke versions of it. A very famous song called Fly Me to the Moon from, good old 60s.
Okay.
But because of the global licensing rights to use that song are so expensive, Netflix passed it up. Like, oh, we're not going to pay the extra money to have that song featured.
It sounds like Netflix is just half-assing this
They
shit.
kind of are, and they kept it under wraps this whole time, all the way up to it finally being distributed or finally appearing on their streaming service.
Right.
It was in the dark. You had no clue who these new cast members were. It was just to avoid all the backlash that was inevitable.
I bet the fucking people that did Sonic wish they could have just left that shit in the fucking can before
You
fucking
gotta wonder.
releasing that shit in theaters.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
fucking Netflix, dude. They have so much fucking properties, dude. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
and that's why it's upsetting that they didn't pay the extra money, because they have Friends on there, and that apparently costs over $100 million just to have on there with all the stuff, including the opening song that it's iconic for. Like, imagine going on to Friends and starting a show, an episode off, and it doesn't have, I'll be there for you, and it's just some generic song in the background from the soundtrack or something.
That's what, I watch a lot of professional wrestling, and that's what the WWE Network had to do with a lot of fucking rights fees. They didn't want to pay for it. So, you'll go and watch, a WCW event from 96, and Chris Jericho comes out, and he's got his WWF theme music that didn't come out till 1999, It's like, okay, you just don't want to pay that money, WWE, which I get.
Yeah, because those royalties are pretty expensive.
But for something that you're talking about, in the sense of, something that's just held to such a high standard.
Yeah, exactly.
And has such a large fan base, it's pretty fucked up that, and disappointing that Netflix would just come in and fucking shit right all over it.
And they have the money. It's not like there's some small starter company that's never, licensed anything in their lives and can't afford it because their budget's so small. This is Netflix we're talking about. The same company that continues to hike their prices up every time you blink, it feels like.
Did they raise it again?
I think it's up to $15 if you want to go the ultra 4K level of quality at this point. I think I'm paying about $12 for just the standard HD.
I think that's what I pay. It's $12.
Because I don't need 4K. I don't have anything set up right now for that anyways, and even off and on I've been considering.
I have 4K, but I don't get internet out here. I've tried twice. I've tried 2 fucking companies come out here, and each time they've been like, yeah, we can't get it.
Yeah, Charter doesn't come out this
Bullshit,
far. It's too
dude.
far for
I
them.
know. Fucking assholes, dude. Fucking Charter are a bunch of fucking bitches, dude. But the way I have to stream and everything is that I got that little Apple device for my iPhone, so I can plug my HDMI cord in and a charger, and I can just throw it up into my fucking on the TV screen. Well, and it has pretty good quality, dude. So it's sometimes the streaming quality sucks, but you get what you get. But I have unlimited data on that phone, so it's
thank goodness for that, because you got to rely on that 4G connection when you can't rely on the internet at that point. That's frustrating.
Yeah, Verizon gets a really good fucking signal out here,
Thank goodness.
Sprint just stepped their shit up too. We have a Sprint phone out here that we use, and that like, yeah. But it sucks, but, you know, you make do what you can, you know, the fucking rural sticks of West Valley, you know?
Yeah, the further out you get, the less likely you're going to have any association with civilization, apparently.
Which is fucked up, because, like, my neighbors have internet. It's just, like, the way we're structured on this hill, dude. The towers for the two companies that do
the
have.
signal
It's
splits
fucked.
or fragments or whatever.
Yeah, it's completely fucked. So.
That's stupid.
Yeah, I've learned to live with that. I have the internet. It's just through a cell phone. You know, it's not too bad.
Yeah, as long as it works, that's the key thing. But, you know,
Yeah.
that makes you think, though, someday it's like, when I'm not here, I'm going to go somewhere that's going to guarantee full connectivity.
Well, it's like when we moved out here 2 years ago, like we moved from, you know, we still lived in West Valley, but it was where Charter actually, you know, provided service. So.
Yeah, I think they only go about as far as like 123rd.
It's like,
and
yeah, well, shit, no, I think it's like right there at the fucking light. The Charter doesn't go, like, well, didn't they just expand out?
Slightly.
Okay.
And I have Charter where I'm at. But
Okay.
we're like right at the borderline. Any further
Yeah.
and it's gone.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
it used to be up at that fucking light.
Yeah, right there on 96.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when I first moved out here, I tried like entering my address and it's like fucking instantly red flags. No fucking way, dude. But like recently in the last like year, dude, I heard rumors that like because like Trump's like tax cuts that he was giving them, they were investing like whatever tax cut money into their areas where they don't have like service. So they were supposed to supposedly they're laying fiber out to take it all the way out to fucking Tampico.
Mm-hmm.
But like I've never heard anything officially, but I can go on their website now and enter my fucking address and place an order. It's not until I call them to confirm. They're like, "Oh yeah, we don't service your address." I'm like, "Well, I fucking placed an order, stupid bitches." Fucking Charter.
Yeah, CenturyLink also isn't that great, unfortunately. And then there's like another service that's local, but it's not that good either. Yakima Broadband or something. So it's like,
They came out here. Yeah, and there's like some other new fucking company that's rolling around here, but I don't know, man. Fucking internet's a bitch, dude. I think one day it'll all crash. I'm gonna laugh one day when it crashes.
It probably will. Goodbye streaming services and everything else.
I went to Walmart once, dude, and their debit card, their card readers went down, and I was like, I needed what I needed, so I was willing to stand there and wait the 45 minutes.
But you're just like, wow, everything's at a standstill because of this.
It's those moments that you had cash though that you could have gone through and just like paid.
It's always smart to carry just a little bit. Never disclose how much you carry. You don't want to become a target,
100%.
but it's always smart to have just a little in case because you just never know.
You can't rely on that card, dude.
No,
100%.
not 100%. It just becomes such a luxury. You think you can, and then as soon as something comes up, just like, what do I do? My life, it's over.
Shit, dude.
Oh, I better finish the story before it's like burning a hole in my head. Okay, so going back to that dubbing thing, they changed the cast, changed a lot of the terms, altered the music. Just basically, for any OG fans, it did not feel like it lived up to the legacy of what they've grown up with. Like, I used to watch the show when it aired on like the anime block on Saturdays on like Adult Swim.
Okay, so that's how you discovered it was through Adult
yes,
Swim. Okay, so fuck yeah. Because I remember they used to have that shit like
they did.
On Saturday nights, dude. They had anime,
and they still do. The Toonami block that used to be part of Cartoon Network's main like afternoon run, and then it went to just mid-afternoon Saturdays. Got rebooted after it shut down after like a few years, and then it became part of Adult Swim's Saturday block. So basically, all the anime that got toned down in the old days got to thrive finally on a branch of the programming block where they could get away with airing it without all the edits that they became infamous for.
Right.
Like Dragon Ball Z's fights getting toned down drastically, characters not actually dying but being sent to another dimension, stuff like that. I remember that.
Did they fucking do that?
They did, yeah. Back in the old dubs, whenever a character was actually killed off,
They just took him to that.
said that they went to another dimension, which was the afterlife where they had the little halos or
Yeah, I
whatever.
was just gonna say I remember fucking because we have the first 4 seasons on DVD and my kids are fucking way into it, dude. So I'm semi I'll sit down and watch an episode, but I'll see that. I didn't realize that that was an American thing.
Yep. We changed a lot of stuff just for the sake of making sure certain people were not going to be angry about what their kids were watching, which, to be fair, Dragon Ball Z and Dragon Ball in general was probably always geared for more of a teen audience anyways, but, back in the early days, it's if it's animated, it's automatically for kids. It's gotta be.
Gotta appeal to 5-year-olds, bro.
I'm glad that mindset has changed. We're now at a point where, for the most part, people won't scrutinize you for watching something that's animated as long as it's actually something that fits the demographic that it's meant for. Some people don't care, though, if you're watching, old animated shows you used to watch as kids.
Yeah, I don't, dude. I watch that's fucking. Well, I have the excuse I have kids, but like you see my fucking posts.
Yeah.
Darkwing Duck and DuckTales, dude.
I don't have kids, but I'm just like, I don't care if I want to watch Beast Wars. I'll watch Beast Wars. I love that show.
I remember that show, dude.
The show was
I
epic.
remember that show. No, dude, I've learned because I used to like hide my nerdism like in high school when it came to pro wrestling.
Yeah.
I used to hide it pretty fucking hard, dude. Because people would be like, "Oh, fucking, it's fake
tough.
as fuck, dude. It's fake as fuck." But then it wasn't until I got older, like 20, 25, I'd say.
Like, who cares?
I was like, I don't give a shit what anybody fucking thinks about me. I'm a motherfucking individual, man.
I'd say if you don't like it, don't hang out with me.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
No, it's just like, why would you even want to surround yourself with people that like don't like the things that you like anyway? It's
I have
just
to say, because then you're basically...
or they're gonna make fun of you for that. It's like,
Yeah.
that's not a friend.
Well, at that point, you're basically in high school again, being surrounded by people you don't want to be anywhere near, but you have to for some reason.
That's called work, buddy.
Yeah, that was the precursor for the rest of your life.
Yeah, that was training grounds, dude.
Yeah.
It was training day. Fucking where's Denzel when we need him? Motherfucker.
So I'm gonna finish the story. now.
Okay, go.
I'm almost there.
No, you're good. You're good.
So back in the day when the original dubs were a thing, they released DVD box sets with all the episodes and stuff. There was only 26 episodes in this series, so box sets weren't like super extensive like Dragon Ball, where it's got like 500 plus episodes through all the different series at this point. Right. But with 26 episodes, they released standalone VHSs, and then as DVD became more popular in the early 2000s, boom, then you got DVDs, and then finally, right around the time before the company started to fizzle out, they released a box set called like the Platinum Collection, which had even like director's cut episodes in it that got even more crazy toward the end. And back in the day, those box sets would only go for like about maybe $40-$50 or something like that. Around the time I finally got my hands on a set, it was going for just about $100, I think. Just because it has been out of print for so long.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
But with recent stuff happening the way that it's played out,
Oh, man.
because Netflix owns the streaming rights, but there's no news that they're ever going to get any new DVDs or Blu-rays released. At this point, the only way you're going to have like a physical medium of the show, much less the actual original dub, is if you go online and bargain hunt or eBay or whatever to find these old DVDs or VHS tapes or even the set. That set that I bought for about $100, there's certain people now selling the same set for anywhere from like $300 all the way up to $1,000 at this point, just because the value has gone up in the sense of like, oh, you want the OG, or do you want to watch it on Netflix and feel disgruntled because they did so much to it that you don't like? Yeah. So it's like, oh, you want it now, don't you? Because this is the good stuff right here. So now I'm over here like, wow. If I get caught in a pinch, I might have to put this up here and actually, push for a hard bargain, because other people are selling it for about $500 to a full K. Maybe I should do that, because
it's good to have shit like that, though. I mean, like, because like you do invest time and money into the collections that you have, dude. And like knowing one day that like, hey, if I do get in that fucking pinch, like, I could sell this and make a little bit of money.
Oh, dude, no kidding. Like, I got a friend of mine. She's obsessed with the pop figures. And I've had a few that I've gotten my hands on off and on throughout the years. I've never been a big Pops collector myself. But I do have at least about almost a dozen of them, just because I've gotten them as gifts or even was curious about a certain figure at the time.
Dude, they're cool. Dude, I got a couple over there. I got fucking, like, Rick from fucking Rick and Morty, and then I got fucking, like, the Mega Man collection.
Yeah, Proto Man right there, too.
Yeah.
So way back in the day, back when Pops were first starting to appear, there was a Master Chief one that I found at a gas station for about $10. Here I am about 5-6 years later, went back to the site for the fun of it, I wonder how much this actually is worth, because my friend was telling me about all the different Pops she has and how they have different ranges of value based on the limited production, back when it was released, blah, blah, blah. I go on there, I'm like, holy crap, this Pop figure is now worth $90.
Oh,
I'm like, the thing's value's gone up 9 times since I bought it at a gas station.
It's so great, dude. It's such a good feeling when you fucking roll into that.
It's just I didn't even plan on that either. I just bought it because I'm like, oh, cool, a little Master Chief figure. I like Halo.
Dude, I started collecting VHS tapes again. I used to have a big-ass fucking VHS tape collection, dude, because, when Hollywood Video got rid of all their VHS tapes, back in, 2005.
Yeah, I remember that.
We went in there and collected a shit ton of them, dude, but, over the, the last 10 years, unfortunately, in one move, they were lost and gone. I was, devastated.
No!
But, it wasn't, so, what I've started doing, though, is just, hitting up, thrift stores and just picking up shit tons of fucking VHS tapes. Dude, I picked up this one copy of, The Incredibles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's like one of the very last VHS tapes that Walt Disney ever fucking produced.
Before they switched fully to DVD.
So I paid like $1 for that, dude, like 99 cents, because you can pick them up for $1 at thrift stores. That's like going for at least $15 right now. So I know down the road, dude, like give it another 15, 20 years, because I'm playing the long ball with VHS tapes, dude. Because right now you can still get them. You can get most of them for pretty cheap.
Yeah, they're not too hard to get your hands on.
Yeah, dude, like.
But it's gonna become a vintage medium at some point. And unless they do a revival, kind of like how they have done with vinyl records, their value is going to go up just because you're never going to see them again.
Yeah,
I don't know. I do find it funny though that vinyl records actually did kind of have a bit of a resurgence to the point where it's like you can actually get turntables not too expensively at this point.
You get what, like a good one, like a modernized one for like what, $100 or something? Like,
it's just crazy to think that this medium's been around since like what, like the 50s or 60s.
You get such better like sound quality though from like vinyl records though. Like I've never actually taken the time to get speakers and everything. I kind of just inherited like the collection that I have right there. But like it's just like, yeah, you know, you hear it. You go to people's houses, you know, and you hear it, dude. Like, but those are so expensive though, dude. Like you look at the prices, like $20-$30 for a fucking record is like, fuck, dude. Like,
and I'm also scared because I got a few very special vinyls, like way back when Halo made the transition over to Microsoft fully and then was being made by 343.
Okay.
They would release special vinyl editions of the soundtracks.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
And I got like the one for Combat Evolved's anniversary release. I got the Halo 4 soundtrack on vinyl records. Never used them yet.
Right.
I am actually scared to put it on the turntable and let the needle start scraping into the vinyl.
Yeah.
And it's like, because I know it's going to sound beautiful, but at the same time, as long as I don't actually use it, if for some reason...
You could drop that in a heartbeat and get some money off it, dude.
It's tough, because there's a part of me that doesn't want to be the collector, that wants to just open all the boxes and just have fun and be a kid again for like a day or two or whatever.
Yeah.
But then the flip side, it's like, if you do that, then there goes your $50+ investments. Who knows how much you can actually get out of these. So you kind of shoot that possibility. Don't do it, as tempting as it is.
I'm pretty bad about that shit. I'll buy the toys and I'll open it and just throw the fucking packaging away, dude. I don't even care, dude.
It's tough because the part of you that goes, I just want to have fun with this because I like this, versus the part that's like, people actually put a lot of money into these collectibles. Maybe I should just keep it in here and wait and see what happens.
Well, there'll be a day when you have kids, and your kids will be like, "What's that?" You'll be like, "Well, that's your fucking college fund right there, baby."
It's like you play with that toy, and you're not going to college.
Yeah, dude. Like I remember my uncle, like, he apparently had like all the original Star Wars toys back then, but like they opened them and played with them,
and their value just.
Yeah, but this, I mean, like, they got them in the 80s and stuff, you know, like, back when they were fucking, you know, that was the thing and shit, which, it's just, you never know what's gonna be, like, you know, what's gonna hold value over the years and shit, dude, you know, because there's plenty of shit I have that's, like, you know, it's worthless shit, but, you know.
Yeah, I get that, too, like, a while back, I bought this, like, World of Nintendo Metroid, a collectible.
Ooh, nice.
And it's just this big jellyfish-looking Metroid that you can just hold in, like, the palm of your hand, and it's pretty well done. I bought it at the time for like about $40 a few years back, thinking, that's already kind of expensive. Maybe in a few years down the line, the price will go up a bit, and you know, it's going to become more of a collectible. And then for the fun of it, I went back on, and like, it's all these years later, and the price is pretty much exactly the same. If anything, it's only gone up for like $3 or $4.
Right.
Like they still have plenty of these apparently.
Right.
So I'm just like, you know what? Screw it. I opened the box. Like, this is cool. I'm like, I better go buy another one just to be on the safe side. Put that one back up.
See, this will be the one I sit around and hang out with.
Yeah, basically. Because it's cool. Like, it's a neat prop. Anyone that loves the Metroid franchise gets to actually see, like, a cool little Metroid up close.
Right.
If I'm doing a cosplay photo shoot down the line with someone that's got, like, a Samus cosplay of any sort, you got a cool prop that you can actually be like, oh, yeah, you want to pose with the Metroid? Here you go.
Here you go. Yeah, I mean, like, that, like... I did want to ask you about that, like, because you got pretty heavy into the Comic-Con that was, you know...
I actually was involved in that.
Not working here, but, you know, it was being presented here within the Yakima Valley and shit.
I got involved in the committee and was involved specifically on the promotion aspect of it, as far as, like, creating the video advertisements that were showcased over the last couple of years. And that was a lot of fun, making essentially commercials for Comic-Con for people to come check it out. We did like cool little theme ones, anything from like a Star Wars theme one to a horror theme one, just because Comic-Con back in like 2017 was about a week before Halloween, so we're like,
Oh yeah,
it's
it
not
was right
close.
before Halloween. Because like I remember when that happened, like because I was never able to I haven't been able to make it to any of the actual Comic Cons, but I remember that first one, I guess it was. We had Kevin's play that night for Hair, and like we ended up at the bar that used to be Michael's or whatever. I forget. It's like
I think it's the Warehouse now. Yeah,
the Warehouse or whatever. And like all like that party, they had like some party train or something from that.
Yeah,
like,
it was the Comic-Con pub crawl.
The little dude from fucking Willy Wonka and shit was there from the Johnny Depp one, and we're like, oh shit.
Yep, that was
like,
Deep Roy.
We're all fucked up and shit. We're like, hey dude, what's up, man? Like Brandon went up to him and like fucking said, yeah, dude.
It was pretty cool. Yeah,
it was fun.
Because I was doing Comic-Con stuff at the same time as Hair. Now that I think about it, because I was there partaking in Comic-Con, and then because of Hair, I was helping Kevin out with taking photos when you guys were up on stage, and then after that, I heard that you guys were going there. I'm like, I think the pub crawl for the Comic-Con's also passing through there. It might be kind of cool to see if anyone drops by, and then Deep Roy and them happened to be there, and like, so that's the little guy who was in Star Trek, who that Scotty kept screaming at the get down. That was Deep Roy too, also in all that makeup. So Simon Pegg worked with him at some point when they did Star Trek. And I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, to think that guy now has a story of like getting all fucked up in yak wines. Like, so we got the fucking limousine.
It's pretty cool.
I was treated like a rock star, man. It was pretty fucking cool, dude.
I always thought it was fun to actually bring these, like, even if they're not like big celebrities by industry standards, they're still people that have influenced someone in some shape or form. We at our recent one out in Ellensburg, we had a voice actor, Johnny Young Bosch, and that dude's been in so many anime that I've watched throughout the years, even recent stuff to an extent. And to top it off, he was the second Black Power Ranger in Mighty Morphin.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah, he was also the one that was in the movie with Ivan Ooze. He was the Black Ranger in that. So, that was Johnny. He started out doing live action roles, and then he got a gig to do voiceover, and then he started doing voiceover for many years on top of occasional live action stuff. Oh gosh, he voiced a lot of OG anime back in the day, like Trigun. Oh, he was Vash the Stampede. That was his first voice acting role.
When did that originally come out?
Oh, back in the 90s. And you might have seen the character occasionally if you see like vintage anime or old school anime from the 80s, 90s. The character's very unique looking. He's got like really spiked up blonde hair, wears like a huge red trench coat, little glasses, and carries like a revolver looking gun. That's Vash the Stampede. Pretty cool.
Wow, dude.
And then we also had I keep forgetting his name. Dante. What's his last name? Dante. He played Rufio in Hook.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just recently saw on Facebook, dude. They like did some sort of photo shoot where they had all those guys back, and they were all like doing like scenes from the fucking movie and shit. Yeah. Fucking Rufio, dude. How was that? Meeting that dude.
Oh, it was actually really cool. Like, cause even though everyone remembers him as Rufio from Hook, he's voiced a lot of characters too over the years. That Disney Channel animated show, that American Dragon, Jake Long, he played the main character in that. Anyone that's a fan of Avatar: The Last Airbender, he played Prince Zuko in that also.
Oh, okay.
So, not only was he a well-known actor because of that role, but he also did voice acting too. So it was cool to have two guys that are infamous for their acting and their voice acting.
Right.
At our con last year, knowing that they were actually in the valley and getting the chance to talk to them and, tell them, hey, it was really cool that you did this, and this. I always will appreciate that you played these characters that gave me something fun to do after a long day at school, basically. I get to come home on a weekend and be like, oh boy, here's a new episode of Code Geass. I can't wait to see Lelouch. And then years later, get to meet the guy who voiced the guy in the show and go, thank you for doing that. Your part was just so much fun, and it was always compelling to see what your character did next, partially just because of how you sounded as that character. So it's pretty cool.
Is there still stuff that like you still get that excited for that's like first run today, like that's now just coming out? Because like I find it very hard on my end, like to really get like excited for like TV shows or like I don't know.
Yeah,
like, it's like movies, like the Avenger films, I guess, is like the closest thing I've been getting hyped up for the last couple of years.
No, I get that completely. It's definitely that way with TV shows and actors. Voice actors, though, especially, it's really tough because we got new generations of voice actors coming into the fray from different walks of life, and they're just starting out. The same way that some of these voice actors that I'm like, oh, these guys are the best, started off back when I was so young, I didn't even understand what voice acting was. So it's harder to get invested in these newcomers just because I haven't grown up with them, and I'm not at a point in my life anymore where I was so influenced by their performances, by the characters that they portrayed.
You kind of just think of them as, because they're like the same age as you, dude. And that's like the same way I am with like pro wrestling, dude. It's like, oh, the wrestling's fun, but it's like, it's not the same like as it was as a kid. Like, the nostalgic factor is like...
It could change a little bit. It's kind of like how my parents are fans of like Robert Downey Jr. and he's in the same age range as them himself anyways. Same with like Hugh Jackman and them being in like their 50s and whatnot. It's like maybe over time that'll change as I see them in more stuff and they become more iconic.
Right.
But at the point where they're at right now and the point where I'm at, it's like, no, I'm still influenced by the people that were a generation or two ahead of me that shaped my childhood through the entertainment that they provided, as opposed to these newcomers that are more on the back seat because I'm not as invested in new shows or stuff these days.
What is like the most popular like anime like right now, like new wise?
Ooh, that's actually a tough one because, you know, back in the old days, the only anime exposure people really got was through Adult Swim or some of the other channels that occasionally played anime, or people that streamed it illegally through subbing sites and stuff like that. But otherwise, back in the day, it's like, oh, if you're not watching Full Metal Alchemist, you're not a real anime fan. Or if you're not watching Naruto or whatever, you're not a fan. Because it was so limited back then. It only felt like there was like a good couple of dozen different shows to keep track of. But this day and age, with the internet being what it is, the market is oversaturated with anime possibilities at this point. There's so many different things from so many different studios. But I'd like to say two that are still standing out pretty prominently right now because they have new seasons and new episodes. It's probably One Punch Man and an Attack on Titan. Those are two big staples that I always see get mentioned somewhere in the conversation when it comes to people that are like, oh, these are like the big animes right now. And Attack on Titan especially, because I remember it took the internet by storm back in like 2014, 13, somewhere around there. It's hard to believe it's been so long since Attack on Titan debuted over here. But yeah... those are the two that I can think of right now that are like big current name ones. Like there's still stuff of like, you know, even though Naruto's no longer around, there's still like the sequel show. Dragon Ball is still relevant because of the Super series that happened and also the new films that have been being pumped out recently. So
I've seen some of the films like that have come through. Like there was like some Super God one or something. Like in the end, like they're all having a party at the end and some shit. Like somebody was getting married or some shit. I don't know. Dude, I like anime, dude. And it's definitely something like I want to like. I wouldn't mind getting more into and getting more well versed in. So I appreciate you coming on here and fucking dropping knowledge. Like, yeah,
I would totally recommend going after a specific genre and then going for some of the staples and even a few of the obscure just to get kind of a taste of both ends of the spectrum. Like me, I always loved the giant robot stories. Just the idea of knowing that it could be possible someday to actually get into like a cockpit, joysticks, whatever, and then basically make a robot do all this stuff. It's like, it's cool. That's why so many people enjoyed Pacific Rim when it hit, because it's living that fantasy of get in the robot, basically. Gundam is a really prominent one. Oh yeah, that is the staple in the mecha genre. Evangelion would also be a staple. I mean, it still is, but it isn't like the staple because it is also a deconstruction of the genre, which is kind of a bummer because One Punch Man is kind of a deconstruction of the typical action heroes, like power hero genre. You know, it takes the fun of like a character like Goku who has to work really hard to become powerful and make a character that's so powerful right off the bat that he's bored with his life because he's just too powerful for his own good.
So what am I going to do today? I don't know, fucking rule the world?
Yeah. Or he's just so disinterested because anytime there's a threat, all he has to do is throw a single punch and it's over. And he's just bored because there's no challenge. His life is so meaningless because there is no stakes for him. If there's a problem, he just walks up to it, punch it, done.
That'd be. I mean, then it's like the be all end all dream that have that much power to be able to conquer every single situation that you have.
And then at the
you
same,
would get bored with it, I would imagine.
to the point where he's more worried about making sure he gets to the store to catch a 32-hour or 24-hour sale or whatever and get a discount on like curry, as opposed to, oh, there's a monster that's literally trying to blow up this city that I live in.
Yeah. See, I could get down on something like that because it kind of just seems like the guy has like a kind of like a cocky fucking asshole-ish attitude.
He's actually extremely laid back to the point where he's like, the character
yeah.
is literally drawn as disinterested.
Okay. See, yeah, no, that's like, I don't know. I imagine that it's just like, he just doesn't care. He just doesn't care.
He's just completely bored by life, and
Yeah.
there's just nothing that's really driving him. He's kind of lost his.
Why do I even get up in the morning?
Pretty close to that. It's just the thing that he was aspiring to be turned out to be way bigger than he anticipated in the sense of what he was capable of, and then the passion behind it was just gone.
Yeah, dude, I have a strong affinity for Japanese culture, man. Like, one of my favorite things that I've gone into over the last, 5 years is Japanese pro wrestling. Which I'd always, heard of Japanese pro wrestling. You'd always hear about it in the 90s about how just, these amazing matches were taking place over there. And, it was, the last, since 2012 or so, 2013 or whatever. That's when I started, really being able to, seek out the matches, with the internet and whatnot. And, that's, my dream to go to Japan and go to the Tokyo Dome. Because they, every January 4th, dude, they have Wrestle Kingdom. And it's just, this year it's going to be a 2-day event and shit. So, I love Japanese culture,
I get that completely. I need to go there at least once, especially before some of the cool things that I'd like to see nowadays are gone.
What type of stuff like that?
Oh, well, let's see. They have that special magnetized train that can go 300 miles an hour or whatever.
No shit.
For a little while they had a special version of it that actually, no, I think it was still the same one. They just repainted it to look like one of the mechs from Evangelion. So, and it also had a bunch of Evangelion stuff integrated into the compartments when you boarded it. So it felt like you were actually getting the Eva experience while you were taking this tran throughout Japan, basically.
Wow.
I wish I could have done that because they discontinued it a couple years ago. And they actually had a life-size scale replica of a Gundam actually in one of the public squares that you could walk up to and be like, so that's how big a Gundam would be if it was strolling around here.
That's fucking badass.
It's so cool. They took that one away and now they got one of the newer Gundams in the franchise rather than the OG one from the first series. And it's also to scale, and it does stuff the one in the show does a thing where it has a horn that opens up into a V shape on the helmet, and then it's got a mask that actually slides down to reveal the eye cameras. And I'm and it also has lights running up and down it that glow red too, that pop on after it opens up. And I'm I'd like to see that.
Gotta make the trip, dude. I feel like there has to be a pilgrimage of some kind.
Yeah, well, I'd have to definitely have a plan. I don't want to just go there and be like, what am I going to do first? I need to actually know exactly which goals I have.
Definitely take the time, 100%.
Especially since I don't think I could stay there for very long due to circumstances. I hate the idea of ever thinking, I can only go to a place for a week at the most, and go, that's not enough time.
Right. No, dude, that's the one shitty part about going on vacation. It's you spend all this time and effort to get there, and then it's done. It's over with. I'm already back home at work. What the fuck?
It's did I even go on vacation? Because at this point, I'm starting to forget everything I did. Dude, I hope I took photos.
Well, that's one thing I always try to do, dude, whenever I'm I don't know, when it comes to life, is this moment right here, I'm gonna internalize this moment, I'm gonna fucking appreciate the shit out of this moment because this moment's gonna pass and we'll be done recording at some point and life goes on.
Uh-huh.
But that's what I do on vacation, especially, dude. I just whatever I'm doing, dude. All right, internalize it. It's fucking nice, dude. It's a good feeling, and then I don't know, it makes you feel more appreciative of that specific moment.
Definitely,
because you only have that moment, whatever that moment is.
Even if you try to recreate it, it's never gonna be the same moment.
No,
because that moment's already passed.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Rick. So you told me there was a main fucking purpose about you coming on the podcast that no one listens to, and you gotta fucking tell me about your shit, dude.
Okay, so besides shooting the breeze and talking about all the stuff that's been my passion to keep me motivated, I am doing stuff on my own outside of work and stuff, and that's my film and photography. Mentioned a little bit about cosplay stuff and how I've done commercials for Comic-Con, but when I'm not doing stuff for clients, I'm doing my own stuff for the sake of doing my own stuff, basically. And one of those things happens to be film. I've been making films ever since I've been in high school when I took a film and lit class. First film was while I was in school, and it became so much of a passion of mine. I'm like, I want to keep doing this. I don't know what I'm going to do with it as far as like where it's going to go, but I want to keep making stories. And that's where we are today. Several films later, whether they be fan film or goofy skits or parodies, I'm bringing everything full circle because, quite honestly, with where I'm at in my life and with it being almost 10 years since I started doing this as a passion, I think I'm going to hang up the towel and finally axe the whole doing film stuff, with the exception of maybe like little 3-minute short films or something. But I used to do full-length features. I am still doing a full-length feature before I say no more.
Right.
And it's just a lot of work to create these films, especially when you have so much on your shoulders, from getting people's schedules lined up to making sure someone's day off is going to work with another person's day off. Just all the planning. A lot goes into it, from making sure your script is perfect, to the music, to the sound effects, to the editing, and it takes a toll. And every year that passes, I realize you get busier and busier, and you have less free time, it feels like.
Right.
So that's the main reason why I'm shutting it down, because it's like, I know I'm not going to have the energy or the time anymore to fully commit the way that I would want to with these, unless I somehow actually formed an actual company and was able to pay people, or even join someone else's film company. But to do it myself simply for the sake of making a film and telling a story, it's like, nah. So for the sake of all this, I'm at least ending things on a high note and sending everything off with a bang. There's a film that I made back in 2016 that I'm finally showcasing this year for people through almost 3 years, pretty much 3 years later since we all filmed it. And it's called Division. It is a crime drama that focuses on a main character who used to do a lot of bad stuff. He used to be a bounty hunter. He used to work for a mob-style gang. He did a lot of bad things under the pretense of like, hey, they're not actually my call. Someone's telling me to do this stuff, so it's okay. That was his way to rationalize the bad stuff that he did. He finally snapped out of it and then decided to live a decent life and use what he could do as far as his skill set for good things, like helping people that were being victimized or stolen from, muggers or whatever. If someone got their wallet stolen, he'd answer the call, track the person down, and reclaim lost property, stuff like that.
Right.
Unfortunately for him, he manages to cross paths with people that are aware of his past, know that he's capable of doing all this stuff, and they want to hire him as essentially a hitman type character to track down someone else that's trying to go after this other guy who's involved in a mob. It's like, oh, you used to work for a mob. You're already familiar with this territory. My boss here, he's in trouble. We want you to actually track down the guy after him, or whoever these people are, and get you back into the fray. Mm-hmm. And of course he's like, no, I don't want any part of this. And then the guy is like, well, too bad. You're already associating with us, so I'm pretty sure they already know, and they're going to come after you now, too. And not just you. Anyone that you care about are probably going to be targets. The whole shameel.
That's quite the situation, Rick.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, life seems to drag you down into things that you don't want to get involved in, whether you have a actual, sometimes your past just comes back to haunt you, unfortunately.
Okay.
So that's where this comes into play. It's like, he used to do a lot of bad stuff. There's people that know he used to do bad stuff. They want him to do bad stuff to keep them safe so they can keep doing their bad stuff. And He's got no choice because, hey, I don't want anyone I care about to get hurt. But as the story progresses, he starts to realize that small, fine line of him being this decent person, going back to that bad person, is a lot thinner than he realized. The right kind of prompting makes him realize, oh no, I'm actually still this bad person after all, or I gotta work really hard to not be this bad person anymore. So you see that tug-of-war struggle between his morals that he's established for himself and the way he used to be. He doesn't want to fall back into that category, but there's a lot of stuff in the film that pushes him to make him feel like maybe he needs to be that way or is ultimately supposed to be that way. So you got that moral quandary for the character as you watch this movie and all the stuff that he's forced to deal with.
Well, it's fucking quite the story, man.
Yeah.
You kind of got me wanting to see it. Kind of sold me on it, Rick.
You only saw the poster a long time ago,
right.
So finally the film will be a thing, and yeah, I'm going to try to premiere it, and then there's film festivals that happen here at Sagebrush. I'm going to try to premiere it there at some point too, and then I would like to actually see about taking it to Ellensburg's Film Festival, or even Seattle's, and then maybe even see what it would take to get it set up with a streaming service. Probably not Netflix at this point, after all the stuff we talked about.
Anybody can get on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, Amazon Prime is... And hey, a lot of people use Amazon Prime, and then you get the free video streaming anyways. Yeah, so do I. And I'm like, I rarely use it for video stuff. So I'm like, I should probably
Check it out, dude.
So I'm gonna see what it would take to do that.
Hell yeah.
And then if it's available on Amazon Prime, because with it being such a big deal as a movie goes, and with me upping the production values from sound and quality to the video quality compared to its predecessors, I want it to actually feel like a decent movie compared to I'm just doing it because I want to make a movie.
Right.
So
you
instead
want it to live forever, man.
And I don't want it to just be on YouTube because,
Yeah.
there's a certain standard of like, well, if it's on YouTube, you're not taking it super seriously compared to your other venues or whatever.
Right, I get
Even though that has changed a little bit in the industry's eye. But there's still a lot of people that look down on the YouTube aspect, like, oh, if you're putting stuff on there, you're just one of those influencers.
We might as well just be on public access.
Yeah, or something.
Anybody could be on fucking YouTube.
So it's like, I want it to feel like it's actually at a new standard if it's actually somewhere you got to invest something in to see it.
I understand, dude. I understand you 100%. Where can people go and find all this information about
Let's see.
projects?
Division does have a Facebook page. Type in runaround/Division, because even though it's kind of a standalone thing, it's also a sequel to a film I did earlier. Same cast of characters for anyone that saw that original film, which that one is on YouTube at this point. So if you want to get a little backstory about some of these characters, go watch the Runaround movie on there and prepare to be amazed by how crazy a story can get when you have no real direction.
I gotta check this shit out now, dude. Now you set the fucking...
Yeah, I'll give you some
set
links
it up, dude.
after.
I gotta go. I gotta get on there and fucking watch that shit.
The last thing I'll say, though, aside from Division, I have one last film that I'm going to try to make, and I'll reveal at least this much to it here. It's a reboot of the very first film I did when I was in high school. I'm taking the original story that I made back then when I was a kid and giving it a fresh coat of paint, a new perspective. Treating the original film I made as a high school student as like the Adam West Batman, where it's campy, goofy, and it never takes itself seriously. And then telling a story that's more akin to like Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. It's the same characters, but the tone is so night and day that you're getting an entirely different experience out of it. Oh, wow. That's the goal with this reboot. So I want to see if 10 years later I've grown as a filmmaker to see if I can tell a story to this degree. So that's going to be the last one. And then at that point, maybe a short film or two for the fun of it. But don't expect feature films unless for some reason I get picked up by some company or get integrated.
Well, you gotta always aim high when it comes to life, Rick Brunstetter. You always gotta stay positive. And it seems like you're a positive dude. And again, fucking thank you so much for coming on the podcast that no one listens to, dude.
Yeah, pleasure to be here, and I hope to be back again soon.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, all right, ladies and gentlemen, for Rick Brunstetter, I'm Kevin Porter. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Bye-bye.
This podcast has been brought to you by Pizza Productions.